And so, beloved friends, beloved family, and we really are a family. It is sometimes unimaginable, but everyone here is a sister and a brother in this world, all of us, playing one big game here. And so it's good to know the rules and then to have fun with it. And so this ascension process is pretty incredible, of course, and it's only getting bigger, accelerating because of all the great things that are happening in this world. And so we continue our journey in this lunar cycle. We had a new moon yesterday. The thing is that, as you know, the position of the Earth really, and the very specific coordinates, really like location of the Earth, got adjusted several times since 2020. And that's just a miracle, right? When you can take the whole planet. Our goal is very clear. This is our goal here. When Divine Mother started to talk to me, I really had no idea about anything. And I think that's good because only then can we learn, right? When we empty the self. And so she was explaining to me the Axis Mundi. She called it Axis Mundi. It was my first time hearing Axis Mundi. Like, think to Google. We can always Google what Divine Mother is saying to see what does it all mean if she doesn't explain all of it. And so she was explaining to us about the Axis Mundi, the axis of the world. And this is pretty much what the entire ascension process is all about. It is about restoring the Axis Mundi, which actually is a tree of life within the earth. Now think about this. Everything in cosmos, when you travel through cosmos, you will find that everything, everyone, all of us, we all have the tree of life within us. The entire cosmos actually is one big cosmic tree of life. It's really puzzling, but that's creation. So that's the creation. So creation mimics, creation is nature. Creation doesn't mimic nature. Creation is nature. All of cosmos is nature. It is cosmic nature. And then we have the universal nature, we have the galactic nature, and we have the solar nature, planetary nature, and so on and so on. And then we have the beings. So the certain design, so when they say you are created in the image of God, it's not the arms, it's not the face, it's definitely not the legs, but it is the tree of life. The tree of life is actually cosmos. Everything is a big toroidal field. When you think about the tree of life, then you also can say this is the tree of life within us. Because really fundamentally, it's very simple. The tree of life has roots, which is one funnel. It is a funnel. Like I'm studying this, looking inside of myself every morning, I just first want to see how my funnel works so that I can talk about it. But it's a funnel. It is a funnel, and it is funneling energy into us. And then it goes through what we would call a wormhole. We, in a way, are the wormhole. So you could say the tunnel looks like a wormhole. It is a vortex that goes in. This is our roots. And then we go through the wormhole, which is really our being, the trunk of the tree. And then, of course, on top of it, we go back and we have another funnel, another vortex, because everything is about energy. Energy has to move in pathways, right? For it to create something, because that's the intelligence of energy. And so we are, in a way, receivers and transmitters of energy, but so is the planet, so is the sun, so is the galaxy, so is the universe. And so the design is pretty incredible. It is a tree of life. Here you see it as the funnel going in, moving through us, and then another funnel coming in. And so the same thing is this. This is the tree of life. Now, because this tree of life is how energy intelligently creates, it is always the flow of magnetism. Magnetism is the magnetic force of the mother, but we also have the magnetic force of the father. And so they have to attract each other to create. And in our being, in our human being, the only way to attract them properly and fully and completely, which leads to our liberation, is through an open high heart, through an open sacred heart. And so there is, again, I cannot really give it names that would describe it well, but I've seen it within myself. There is a valve, and when it opens fully, which is a very sacred experience, mystical experience, these magnetic flows simply find you. You become irresistible to them. And so our journey here in this lunar cycle will be so exciting because, I'm every day asking Divine Mother, what is next? How would you like us to prepare for the next step? And she told me yesterday, the next step is all about the rainbow body. And because, the earth herself used to have a rainbow body that was perfect, the Axis Mundi was creating the rainbow body of the world. If you look at this, you see there is an alignment, right? And the axis is not tilted. You see how, for example, in this beautiful visual, you see how it is straight up because it is the true north. And then, of course, polarity is created by the magnetic flow, which is south and north. We call it south and north. We could call it plus and minus. And so the same thing is happening in our spine. We too, as mystics, have one very simple way to actually create our rainbow body. Number one, we have to love life, love God, love Divine Mother. And that the reason for that, of course, is it's actually like a physical, physiological reason, physically, right? Like physics, physics. When the valve of the Sacred Heart is open, only then can it flow. When it is partially closed, when it's fully closed, like it is in most humans, it just cannot flow. If it cannot flow, it cannot create this beautiful rainbow body. And so as mystics, we focus on several things, many things actually. But number one is, of course, love. Love that is bigger than what we understand normally as love. Love that is only all love. Love that is so unshakable, love that is so complete, love that is so big that nothing else can exist. And then we go into the spine, and in the spine, we magnetize our spine. We magnetize the spine as mystics with our breath and with our amazing intent. Intent is something we will be also speaking about a lot, because intent is becoming the new tool to create your own lucid dream in this reality, which anyway is a lucid dream. So, we have been trapped. Divine Mother always said it was a dream within a dream. And the issue with a dream within a dream is really something so, deceiving. It was deceiving us. We called it illusion because we simply forgot the power of our creative mind. We forgot that we are dreaming. And instead of having fun with it, we actually put reality kind of on a pedestal and said, this is reality, and I'm just someone in it, and the circumstances and the situations are just happening around me because that's reality. So we lost our original relationship with reality. So there's a lot that will be happening. And so the intent of moving energy up and down, of course, is what helps us to magnetize our spine. Now, I'm just kind of reading all of this in the field. Like when I connect to the ethers, all of this just comes through my mind. And so I'm trying to translate it in a coherent way. And sometimes it's a lot of information. And this one is a really good one. And so when the spine is magnetic, which is really the purpose, for example, for those of you who have followed the path of Kriya Yoga, Yogananda always told us, is the most supreme way to actually activating all of this. And it's because it is about magnetizing the spine, about making the nervous system really so refined and reconnected in a way that we stop perceiving illusion and we go into the other dream, which is called the cosmic dream of God, where there is no illusion. It is a dream. It is a hologram. Cosmos is also a hologram. But that is a beautiful dream where no one is really trapped, but the beings know that they are in it. And so they have fun with it, So the difference is really big, right? If you don't know, you don't know. But if you do know, you have fun with it. And so the idea is to have fun with it, because God is having fun with it too. And so when we magnetize our spine and when we open our sacred heart, again, Divine Mother will be guiding us. This is a big process. If this was easy, everybody in this world would already have activated their sacred heart through the mystical practices. But actually, it's the most difficult, but that's only until now. Divine Mother will give us definitely instructions on how to do this so that everyone in this world can totally awaken fully and completely beyond anything we can even imagine. And again, I only speak about it because I had that experience, so I want that for every single one of us to fully unlock. Because when we unlock, we step into freedom, and the freedom is freedom from illusion. It's freedom from suffering. It's freedom from pain. It's freedom from the mind also that we, got so used to. And how does it work? How does it work? It is an energetic kind of shock to the system to open the sacred heart. It's like a nuclear explosion to me. So, I practiced the light body with Daben for a really long time. And that was the first taste that I experienced many years ago. When suddenly, you work with the sacred heart. And for those of you who followed the path of Daben, the sacred heart we know in these teachings as Felonia. And so when the Felonia completely ignites, when the Felonia activates, which is the sound of the sacred heart, but again, it's just from the teachings of Daben. I also was able to do it just simply through generating enough love where it pops open. And so when it pops open, you actually generate such a massive explosion of energy around yourself. It truly is an explosion, really, as if you are instantaneously with that force of the quantum energy moving through all limitations. They all dissolve instantaneously. Yogananda said, one breath like this deletes 500 years of karma, just one breath. And he said, we just have to master and practice and master and practice and so on and so on. But then eventually, when we finally get to it, the one breath removes everything around us that was distorted. And so Yogananda told us this, 50, 60, whatever years ago, much longer actually. So now it's different. Now it's very different. And so everything, the limitations, it's not about so much about karma anymore, but it's so much about the habitual energies around us that limit us. We all have been in a habit of who we are, I am this, I am that, this is my past, I think this is my present, this is my name, this is my, this is my body. All of it became a habit of energy. So as beings of energy, right, we work with energy in every split moment. We want to liberate all energy around us to be free again. This freedom comes from this new magnetism. When we activate this magnetism around us through that big kind of explosion, this peak experience, it's not subtle. It's not something we could miss. The result of it also is not subtle. It is the most life-changing moment that can happen to a human being when this gets activated. So again, the habit, when you ask someone, who are you? I have a name, this is how old I am, this is my family, these are my kids, this is my partner, this is my, exactly the story. But that's not at all who we are, right? That's just a habit. We've repeated it again and again and again and again. And now we believe it, that that's who we are. But actually, we have to be switching gears into so much more. I am my divine self. My divine self is pure consciousness that came from God, is within a vehicle that we should actually now start calling something else than just the body, because it's actually a fifth dimension, originally, it's a fifth dimensional, incredible, what should we call it? A vessel. Vessel is a good one. And so, it comes in and then it is expressed. It is expressed into the world through the body. The body becomes kind of like a channel a focal point into which the divine energies are channeled through all the different energy systems, but mainly these two, which is Mother, Father, God meeting in our heart. Instrument. Okay, wonderful. Whatever works for, we just have to find a word in this world, right? Still, that works for us. It really is an incredible being. It is a being of nature. The body is a being of nature. The body right now, it looks nothing like the original creation. It's incredibly distorted right now, but we are restoring the body to be once again this incredible, beautiful expression of our nature. Nature as the cosmic nature, in which he creates forms that become channels for energy. And so our body will become more and more and more a beautiful open channel for divine energy. So the marriage of the two, where we bring consciousness from source with all the 12 qualities of God, really, and we download them through the channels into the fifth dimensional body, and then create unique expression so that we are not all the same, we are all equal, but everybody is unique. So everyone has unique gifts, unique talents, is an expression of the divine at all times without any distortion. And so all of this is going to run through us. But the key for us right now, what we can really work on is this increasing our magnetism. When our magnetism is increased in this, what we call here rainbow body, we are very familiar with all the teachings of the rainbow body, but this really is our destiny. Our destiny for all of us is exactly the same, and that is to come to the state of the rainbow body, in which we experience complete freedom. And the freedom is freedom from everything, freedom from all limitations, freedom from the what we call here the reality, which really is not a reality. And so in the state of freedom, we become what we call in this world Jesus. We become completely like the Christed being that has no limitations and sees no limitations and can walk on water and can turn water into wine, just to tell some of the stories. But that's pretty much it. We all become once again complete miracle makers. And so our ascension process is the same as the ascension process of the earth. The earth herself also is a body, and she too has the tree of life within her. And because poor little thing, she got tilted a very long time ago, she could not run her energies properly. So when you have your own body not running energies properly, we get sick. When the earth is not running her energies properly, she too gets sick. And so in a way, this ascension process is also about healing. It is about healing the earth as much as about healing our structure. And the healing comes actually not from doing it's really absolutely important in this world right now still to always be in service to things like the environment, the animals, animals, as it is another big story, right? They too have their own path of evolution that humans need to start respecting, because every creature has their own evolutionary path. And so we again will fall in love with everything and everyone and respect everything and everyone. So that type of healing will happen on Earth. But it is happening right now, slowly. And even though it's, some things happen very abruptly, we have so much more solar light, but still it's a process. And so we can start by healing our own self first. Of course, we always want to start there, by aligning our own axis, by realizing who we are and who we are not, and also recognizing the habit of the self. The habit of the self is the most gripping habit that we all had. We really, even, I think having mirror, that's something that even made that habit stronger for humanity, because we all grew up with a mirror on the wall. And so when we wanted to know who we are, very often, right, we would go and look in the mirror. That's me. But that is part of the big illusion. How could that be me, right? It's not. And so we need to start looking actually within to find not even the mirror, but find the divine self within. And so again, part of the distortion was having mirrors, because we all were seeking an image of the image of the self to give us satisfaction or dissatisfaction. And so I think, a lot of us in this world, we got hooked on the image of the self. And so now that image of the self is actually dissolving, dissolving, dissolving. And with that, what we also are dissolving is our so-called human mind. And so this is a big one. And I talked about it on the call before, but we have to really understand what's going to happen. That is that we are letting go of something that we thought was our mind. So, we had so many beautiful teachings in this world helping us to manage the mind, to quiet the mind. But really, one of the things that maybe not all the teachings told us, that the mind was not our own. And it was more like an infiltration of the human system that actually happened a very long time ago. And so the mind, the way that I like to describe it, and if you heard it before, I'm sure that you don't mind hearing it again, because this is really, really a big piece. One way we started to call the dysfunctional mind, even if it was intelligent, because some minds became very intelligent. But let's say that the mind that could never stop chatting, the mind that always was judging, that was kind of projecting judgment onto the world, the mind that one day was our friend, but the next day was not, the mind that was not really reliable, meaning that one day it would tell you beautiful things about who you are, but next day maybe it would even have some judgment about your own being, right? So that kind of mind, you can think of it now more as a computer program that is incredibly equipped to constantly bring up something, and it has a lot of options what it's going to bring up. It cannot really be controlled. It is very much autopilot, and it's just coming up, like, let's say that if you filled a big balloon with a lot of words and thoughts, and it would be just spinning, and so inside of it you would have all these thoughts and words and ideas and judgments, but it is just a balloon. There is nothing new, really, so much that it can come in from the quantum field of divine possibilities. It has a lot of ideas within it, but it cannot really break through because it was created to be that way. It's a computer system, so now and again get some upgrades, but the thing is, it still is a computer program. It's a recycling program. It also thinks how wonderful it is to hold on to memories of good and bad sometimes, right? And that the memory is like a really important thing. So that program is being deleted from humanity, but instead we are stepping into the divine mind. And I love that image that Catherine just posted. That's it. And so as we are moving into new gear, it's a big shift coming into the divine mind. Let us describe a little bit of the divine mind, what it is and what it isn't. Divine mind has no worry, no fear, but also it doesn't operate on the principle of just figuring things out through logic. The divine mind is the mind of creator. It's the divine mind of unlimited options, unlimited resources, unlimited possibilities. So it knows it is unlimited. It doesn't think of any limitations ever. So in that state, and try to come with me into that state, the divine mind opens up to the quantum field of cosmos, where all already is, already exists, everything has been figured out. And it draws innovation, it draws creative ideas from the field. And then it uses itself, the mind, as the architect. But all of it is actually initiated by the loving heart. So the heart can never ever create something harmful. The heart doesn't create anything that could be bad. The heart creates out of love. It means it's not always perfect. You're like a little kid drawing a little drawing. It might not be the best, but it always is created out of love. So comparing it to a child is a really good idea, because we all are in creation children who are learning to operate the divine mind of God. We are learning to create through love. That's something we agreed to originally. Then it didn't go so well, but here we are again. So think about it that way. The child, when we are children, it's a process to get better at things. So, when we start drawing drawings when we are 2 years old, maybe they're beautiful out of love, but, when we grow up, we learn the skill a little better. And so that's exactly how it is. So we don't create without love. We create out of love. That's the divine mind that's going to come back to us, and it's coming back to us. That mind is always asking divine will. Divine will. What is the divine will for this planet? What is the divine will for this being? What is the divine will for this collective? And then it draws that innovation, because it is outside the bubble. It goes outside the box, outside the balloon. It is not recycling the old. It is not recycling the worry and the fear. It is not recycling any limitations. It is excited to draw from the field, solutions even. Divine Mother always taught us how to create and how not to create. And one of the tools, and it's again a story that she gave me, and so I repeat the same one story, she took me out of body and we traveled to what I call Mu, so the ancient times. And she was teaching me there about her being the mirror, that everything that our divine mind can actually bring down and truly have the intent of bringing into this world. She sees what we are doing. She sees our intent in every split second, by the way. And then she mirrors everything, because that's who she is. She's the mirror. The mother is a mirror. And so then she becomes it. But the thing is that she always multiplies. She's the mother of multiplication. She will always give you more than what you ask for. The asking cannot come from a need. The asking cannot come from a want. And actually, the asking doesn't come from a desire itself. It has to be divine desire, desire based in the heart. So the heart's desire. And also the heart's desire is very pure, always. It's never selfish. It's always based in joy. And then she looks at you in every split second, and she creates it for us in this world, right? And so that's how she also gets to know who she is, because we give her our own information and then she becomes it. I never met the angry form of mother. I never met the scary form of the mother. But I met the mother in forms where she also experienced what I would call pain. And it was the pain of the depletion of this beautiful ecosystem here on this planet. It was also the pain of the animals. She feels that pain when suffering is imposed upon her, which is nature, because she's in all of it. And so I got to feel her pain, and it was not pleasant at all. But I never got to meet the scary and the, the scary version of her that some mystics got to meet. And so to me, it's also a good sign that things are getting better and that we are moving forward into more love, and that many of us on this planet are so dedicated to this beautiful ascension process. So this ascension process, once again, is about realigning the axis of the world, the axis mundi. So in this lunar cycle, I will ask you, beautiful team, to join us every day if you can, and to also participate in an activity that we got from the World Congress on Illumination that our dear sister Myra recorded for us. I added some music to it. I will turn it into a video when I have time. And so we will do it for now as an audio, and that is working with the axis of the world. and gently working with the beings who are now holding the axis, and just moving things gently and beautifully so that we create more and more and more balance, not only within us, but also within the world, of course, because it's a catch-22. When you send beings who are fully aligned into a very misaligned world, very often it too tilts their axis. So, we've had a lot of beings who were sent to planet Earth. My guides always call this the gas chamber, because when you lose that fresh oxygen, a lot of things happen. Suddenly we don't think with the divine mind. The virus comes in, it takes over, and then, it takes restoration to come back to that place where we can be here on purpose and do the work. And so I wanted to bring, I found this beautiful, beautiful image of Lakshmi. I was looking for all the images of Lakshmi, and then I found this Ukrainian artist. I think she's originally from Germany. And so she has an online store on Fine Art America. And I met Lakshmi a few days ago, and this is what she looked like. I was looking for exactly, it had to be specific, because when you meet the mother and she reveals herself, you want to be specific about exactly how she was. And this is the closest I could find, and so beautiful. So Lakshmi came a few days ago, and I mentioned this on the call before, but I want to mention it again because it's really important. And she told me, it was my first time meeting her, by the way. And so to me, that's like huge. She didn't stay long. She stayed for a few minutes and then she disappeared again. And when she came, she said, I've been on every Zoom call with you. I've been working with this group, with everyone. I've gone to every event with you. And also the sessions that we have done, the few private sessions, is also she has been part of it. And so to me, this was so huge. I used to say I'm a daughter of Shakti, and now the last few days I just keep repeating I'm a daughter of Lakshmi. It's the same woman anyway, right? She's not a woman, but same divine mother in many different forms, so she doesn't mind. And so it's just so, so beautiful. It's life-changing. I feel it's just life-changing for all of us, because the way we live, right? It really does matter. How we step into the world does matter. Yeah. I'm sure this artist, this Ananda Vdovich, that she met her too. She has so many beautiful pictures of her on her account on, the website I mentioned, because you have to meet the mother. Oh, and here's the hummingbird right in front of me. That's, when Divine Mother wants to say yes, she sends her nature to you. She sends her dragonflies. She sends her hummingbirds. She sends her body to us, just like she did to Saint Francis of Assisi, right? Nature started to respond to him, Saint Francis, because, when you are in a certain state, nature sees you and loves you. And so here she is, loving you all. And here's the hummingbird again, Divine Mother. Yeah, it's so wonderful. And so when you see her, acknowledge her. When you see a dragonfly, say, hello, Divine Mother, because that is her. Specifically, very specifically, dragonfly, like I mentioned before, carries so much of her energy. And so I want to welcome beloved Mahalakshmi into these circles here. And when you wake up in the morning and you say to yourself, I'm a child of Lakshmi, I'm a child of Shiva, I'm a child of Shakti. I mean, that's the way to set yourself up for the day. It's just magical. Magic unfolds, and Divine Mother loves it. When we love life with all our hearts, she will reflect back to us. And you can play now more than ever before. You can now play, and we can play with what my guides call pure intent. And again, they came to me, a few days ago, really, this is all fresh. And they were saying pure intent is the new art of magic here. So pure intent. Let's talk about pure intent. I've tested it out several times, and I will just give you an example because it's a really fun one. I will give you 2 examples of pure intent. So my guide said, okay, now that we have been liberated, we have new potential to create our own life the way that we really want it. And my guide said, this is beyond, like manifesting. It's also beyond visualizing. It is simply internally being aligned, being so coherent, which the only way to be coherent is to be all love. So when we wake up in the morning and we find that internal space of love, it's sweetness. It's when you expand, and how you do it doesn't matter. The technique really doesn't matter. Whether it is chanting, whether it is doing Qigong, whether it is meditating or doing nothing, it doesn't matter as long as love arises in us. So when love arises in us, we are coherent. We are coherent where the old mind is dissolved. We are one with our divine mind, which is creative, infinite, playful, wants to draw experiences from the quantum field. So it's almost like we invite quantum particles from the quantum field to become our experience. So whatever you experience you want to have, you draw the perfect experience from the quantum field. If it is a thing you want to experience, I wanted to experience a new car. And so I wanted to draw that experience from the quantum field. And then you simply state whatever statement you want to make, it doesn't matter. But the statement has to be as clean as saying, I'm going to have a cup of tea. I'm going on a walk. I'm going to wash my hands. Something where you feel no conflict. It simply is. It's so simple. It's a very pure intent. There is no how. There is no when. There is no how much. There is no way. There is no, oh, that can be, So it's a very pure intent. So you practice this first. Yes, flow is a very good idea. And then you simply state what you're drawing from the quantum field. And then I like to ask for the good omens. I think that's how you say it, the good omen, like a good sign. Give me signs. I like signs. And so I will just share this experience. So for example, the new car, that was a great experience. Loved it. I arrived at the car dealership and they had a very perfect car that I was looking for in the quantum field, and it just found me. And then I said to Divine Mother, I was chanting Om Mahalakshmi when I was driving. And I said to her, just give me all those good omens. So I arrived, and the lady who was there, she was from Australia. So it was very exciting for me because I went to school in Australia. So I asked her where she was from. And she was from a very cool place that, for those of you who are here on the call in Australia, will know, Byron Bay. And she was selling cars in California. So I thought, oh, that's cool. And her name had a very strange spelling, so I didn't know how to pronounce it. And she said, oh, it's a weird name. My mother was so into numerology that she gave me this weird name for the numerology of it. So I thought, oh, one good omen, numerology. Then I looked at the car, and a ladybird, little ladybug, was sitting on the car. And I said, that's another good omen. And then this lady would just nonstop be telling me about meditation, creation, about the healing power of crystals. And I thought, this is all good omens, selling me a car. And then the finance manager or whatever, a very young guy, wonderful young man. His name was Caesar. He comes in, and it's the first time we met. And he's probably, I don't know, 24. And I'm just sitting there, not even dressed up as a hippie. And he just looks at me and is like, how are you? How are you? Nice to meet you. And then he says, I just got back from earthing. I was earthing. I love earthing. And I just thought, why would you say that? So that was another great omen, Who says earthing? when they are a financial whatever manager at a car dealership. And why would that be the first thing you say to anyone? Next thing he tells me, he says, you know, water is very healing, isn't it? It's like bathing in crystals. And I just thought, oh my gosh, Divine Mother created my own personal lucid dream. To me, this was a lucid dream. So, okay. So now you know how it works. It's like surreal. The most improbable things actually happen. And you have to acknowledge that is surreal. Then we drove to Mount Shasta, and I thought, okay, I'm teaching my husband how to use pure intent. And so I have my haircut on when the moon is in Leo. When you cut your hair when the moon is in Leo, you get, you know, better hair. And sometimes I forget, but when I remember, I do it when the moon is in Leo. And so we're driving to Mount Shasta, and I see moon will be in Leo. So I need to quickly find a hairdresser at Mount Shasta who can cut my hair exactly when the moon is in Leo. And so I found some, you know, there are a few at Mount Shasta. And I was telling Lakshmi, I said, Lakshmi, I really, you know, with hairdressers and hit and miss, but I like to have Lakshmi hair because life force can flow through your hair, right? It actually does. And so for those of us who damaged our hair, which I did through all the different bleaching and stuff like that, it's good to go back to nature because nature will be flowing through the hair. So I'm telling Lakshmi, I said, Lakshmi, I want it to be like this and very healing and just natural. So I come to this little studio, and it was just one little room. It was not really a big business at all. And so the lady would unlock the door and just let one customer in. And so she lets me in, and her salon is called Gaia Hair. And then I walk in, and she only has one big tapestry on the wall. And of course, it's Lakshmi. So I thanked that lady for being part of my lucid dream, because of course she did everything like Lakshmi would. And it was just so miraculous. And of course, she was like the most incredible spiritual master being, you know. And so this is the new way. I'm just telling these examples just so that it's, you know, examples are really good, right? We learn from examples. And so you have to thank Divine Mother then, right? For providing all that you are dreaming in this dream, and constantly thanking her, acknowledging that she loves you so much, that she's giving you all that you are actually drawing from this beautiful quantum field. It's just amazing. And so now the thing is, of course, I want to call you my love, but there are many of you here. So, my loves. Now, the thing is, we have to let go of the old way, which was so limited, especially by the financial system, the monetary system, right? Can't afford it, it's too expensive. And it's not only about stuff, right? It's just, even the hairdresser is not really about stuff, it's about wanting healthy hair. And so, now we are drawing things to us from the quantum field out of love. Always remember love, pure intent, pure meaning. Nothing is an obstacle. It is as simple as saying, I'm just gonna wash my hands. Something as simple that is that. So when you wash your hands, you say to yourself, I'm going to wash my hands. Here it is. Oh, that was so easy, you know? No obstacles in the way. And so this new creation is like that too, the new intent. And then we want to live in the divine reciprocity with the field. And so, how do we bless the field back for giving us everything and creating the most perfect, wonderful situations? We give our love back to the field. We give our gratitude. We give our thanks. So now, more than ever before, what will be so important is to every day, if you can, create a little ceremony of thanksgiving for the world, which is the mother. And maybe every day put a little flower on her, put a little flower in a vase, go outside, put a little offering, whatever you want. Once a day. It's not too much, is it? we get so much, we get to be experiencing this life. So we are returning to the ways in which we actually give thanks to the Great Spirit. And if you want to, turn the Great Spirit into the mother, you can turn it into the father. It doesn't matter how. But just like our, ancient people, our native people, for example, they every day gave thanks. And so we are returning to daily thanksgiving. So it's really about being in this divine reciprocity. That's right. We receive and we give and we receive. It's just this beautiful, really gifting. That's just the gifting that is happening here. Let me think about what else is important here. And so, yes, absolutely. With our animals and just gifting, caring, constantly going into that, our bodies are changing so much right now. So it's good to support the body in the change, connecting to your body elemental. So start practicing pure intent. And in this lunar cycle, we will completely achieve mastery of it. The key is to realize that we have been living under a spell. The spell was that which we called our mind, but it was not ours. I like calling it a spell, actually. It just came to me because it was a spell. It kept us sometimes feeling very diminished, as if we didn't have the power that we actually did have. And now that we have it again, it's good to tell that entity mind, the robot mind, the computer mind, the implant mind, it's good to tell it with command, with certainty, with pure intent, surrender to God. Surrender to God. And then follow up with let go. Because it has to let go of us, It doesn't want to. You have to know it does not want to. That disconnected, because it was actually disconnected, that mind, we can call it many different things again, actually was not our original mind. Our original mind is our divine mind. So step one also is surrender to God, let go. And you are asking the mind to let go. You are asking the mind to surrender to God. And because the mind is more like a computer program, it doesn't know how to do it. It's not a sentient being. It's not. And so it needs to be surrendered to God and let go. That's right. So that's one thing. Then the pure intent, to simply practice pure intent. What is it? Pure meaning 100% confident intent. That's it. I'm going to open the window. Of course you are. I'm going to lift my arm. Of course you are. That is the pure intent. And then And then, of course, you want to try it on the things that you really want to experience. And let everything and everyone be part of your not quantum dream, but your lucid dream. It is lucid dreaming once again, If you've had a lucid dream before, you know exactly what it feels like. And so in a lucid dream, it's pretty incredible. This too is a lucid dream, but we just have to remember that we are dreaming. Another thing that I wanted to recommend is very often reminding yourself, I am that I am. That statement alone is our true identity. It is a statement of our divine self. It doesn't have a label. I am not a woman. I am not this age. I am not this name. I am not even this body. The body is a wonderful vehicle which will serve us beautifully more and more. It will too be liberated from whatever happened here on planet Earth. But if you remind yourself at least once a day, I am that I am. And if you feel the computer mind coming back in and kind of commenting on your life, you just say, I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. The mind that we speak about, we also called it the lower human ego, was actually an invasion of the human being a very long time ago. And as it invaded us, it became a very custom. We got accustomed to it. And we said, oh, that's the human condition. Yes, it was the human condition, but not the natural condition. It was actually very unnatural. It was an invasion of our body, an invasion of our being. And so it created this fragment that was soulless. The fragment itself does not have a soul. And so now the operator is gone of the system. Liberation happened in August, but we still have this technology here that needs to be cleared and cleaned from us. And the biggest technology we have, you know, Oracle Girl, she had a great name for it. She called it slave self technology. And that's pretty much what I would call it too, slave self technology. And so that one, we now surrender to God. We command it to surrender. We command it to let go. And then again, claiming our divine right, which simply is, I am that I am. And as I am that, then the possibilities in the quantum field are infinite. Yes. And one thing I mentioned on the call before, to use a mudra that Divine Mother taught us. For those of you who went to Mount Shasta, I showed the mudra. It's a very important mudra given to us directly by Divine Mother. She doesn't give us anything old. She gives us the ones that everything is now, you know, effective now. And so it's basically just like crossing your fingers, like you say, good luck, or I'm crossing my fingers for good luck, but doing it on both hands at the same time, the right and left. And the reason why we do that is because we are collapsing this distortion within us. We are distortion. Yeah. We are collapsing the right and left distortion. And so we do it by crossing our fingers. Thank you, Angela. You're such an angel. And so that's exactly how we cross our fingers. It's all about the index finger and the middle finger. So whenever the distortions come in, judgment comes in, thoughts come in that you really do not welcome, cross on both hands your fingers like this and just hold it for a moment for the energy channels to rearrange within yourself. Of course, this all, you know, our hands are really magic wands, and they are connected to our brain, to our nervous system, to the flow of energy within our system. So when we do that, is, you know, this is an energetic mudra. This mudra will switch off the distortions and take us to our next level of perceiving reality. So I recommend doing definitely a lot of Qigong these days. And you will fall in love with Qigong because we all will. We will realize that Qigong was not exercise, but Qigong was actually the art of magic from Mu, when all of us could actually be connected to all things. So this is from a Taoist book. So Qigong and Taoism will definitely become the new way of living, which is also the very ancient way. Here, this picture already shows us that they knew, this is from a Taoist book, ancient knowledge, right? Thousands of years old. They knew that the earth had a tilted axis. So the way that we repair it within us when we meditate, we sit upright, just showing that our spine is aligned with the gates of heaven. The axis mundi within the earth opens the gates of heaven that used to be open. We used to be part of cosmos, part of galaxy. We used to see our brothers and sisters from the stars. The thing is that when the axis mundi, the tree of life, tilted, we also lost our easy access to the gates of heaven. And so when we meditate, we restore this. When the earth is restored, we will reopen the gates of heaven. So in Taoism, again, this is from a Taoist book, they have always worked with the starlight. We've done this before, working with the Big Dipper, with Divine Will. And so I'm bringing this up just to say that a few days ago, the Big Dipper actually rearranged itself. And what this means is that we had a big shift in magnetism on planet Earth. In a way, we step into a new chapter of divine will on this planet. So there's going to be much more that will be moving through us. And so what we will do during this lunar cycle, we will work a lot with activating our rainbow body. We will be restoring the freedom that our rainbow body gives us. And we will be aligning the axis of the world so that once again, we open the gates of heaven. This is really an amazingly important light body that we have. As you can imagine, in this world, we had a lot of technology that tried to mess with our electromagnetic field. And that kept us also, you would say, manipulated. Because when you manipulate someone's electromagnetic field, they will not perceive true divine reality anymore. The same with the planet. When the planet doesn't have this, the planet herself doesn't show true divine reality. Oh, great question, Linda. So no, this is just from the Taoist book. That's how they actually connect with the violet light. They connect with the Big Dipper in meditation and they flip it so that they can receive the violet light from the Big Dipper. And I think this is brilliant. I don't know about the Healy device, but of course we have technology like phones, Wi-Fi, TV towers, phone towers, who knows what, right? All of that was diminishing our electromagnetic field. When a being activates their rainbow body, when a being activates this fully and completely, guess what? They unplug from the matrix completely. They become sovereign beings. And I know we can't even imagine it because it is so well hidden. It is not easy to get to. That's why all the masters who activate their rainbow body, what happens? They disappear, don't they? They leave rainbow behind. We all gonna do it. In this world, that's part of our ascension. So all the stories of the great rainbow body masters, they are good to look at because that's exactly what's happening here. They simply vibrated themselves out from the matrix because they become completely disconnected from any manipulation. They become completely free. And to me, in a way, also, samadhi, like Yogananda, when they go into samadhi, what happens? They check out from here and they still have a body here, but they actually check into divine reality instead. And they are unaffected by the illusion of anything. So, anyway, so that's going to be our new exciting lunar cycle. Remember, collapsing this is really a good idea. Grounding, earthing is absolutely essential. We continue that as our kind of the most important tool we have here is connecting to the earth, of course, because every day she has new magnetism and also the stars are sending new magnetism. And so we want to be downloading and uploading all the right things. So I'm going to go and do some Qigong. If anyone is out there on this planet joining me, we're going to be standing on the same earth. So thank you so much and see you tomorrow. Many blessings. Thank you.